Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Rocket League stream. As always, I am Cormac, otherwise known as Robin Fox, and normally for our blue matches, I have my compatriot, acquaintance, co-caster, co-commentator, confidant, other alliterative terms, Austin, otherwise known as Union Thunder. He's, of course, the captain of our gold squad, and he helps me out here. Unfortunately, this evening he informed me that he is a little under the weather. He's a little sick. He said he had a sore throat. So, thinking of Austin right now, I encourage you all to do the same. I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. So, I will be commentating this one solo this evening. So, I'm gonna have to really kind of pick up his slack. He's a big part of the team, as I'm sure you all know. But yeah, so he of course will, despite feeling under the weather, will still be playing later tonight because we have two matches as per usual this evening. We have our gold squad playing here against Midway at 7, which is going to start in just a few minutes, and later in the night, in about an hour or so, we're going to have our gold squad playing against Post Eagles. I believe it's Post Eagles Purple. It's a very creative name. Now that I think about it, I think Midway also is bird related. I think we have two eagle teams on the docket tonight. So that's kind of exciting. It's a fun little detail I noticed setting this all up. But anyways, our gold squad will be playing against Post later this evening at 8. So look forward to that. Stick around for that if you want to see Austin play. Hopefully his sickness doesn't affect him too much. But yeah, so he always likes to prepare some information before the matches. He's quite the researcher, I've noticed. He collects information about the blue squad's opposition every time, so he has supplied that to me. Don't worry, despite being sick, he still delivered, and so I'll be completely down, with sharing that information throughout the match and throughout the broadcast here, despite his absence. Yeah, again, as always, shaking off the rust a little bit here. Second broadcast of the semester, so replacing some of these graphics, which you might have noticed if you'd watched last semester, and trying to get some higher quality. So, of course, leave in the chat if my audio levels need some tweaking or if you notice something up, because I'm always accepting feedback, trying to get better. Tried noodling around with the mic settings, so let me know if that was a success or a failure, or if you didn't notice, or if you didn't care. Really, any feedback is appreciated. But yeah, so getting the hang of everything. I made a little schedule here for our starting stream, and I've started to try to start the stream a few minutes earlier than normal, just have a little bit more time to talk before the match. And if Austin was here, I'm sure he'd be sharing the research he did on the opposition. Again, unfortunately, he is sick, but I do have the facts that he gave me, so I'll slip those in here and there. I'll pull up one right now if I can get it. Just had to pull up the research, of course. He legitimately sent me a PDF. I mean, he is very studious about this, which I find funny. All right, so like I said, we will be watching the blue squad go up against Midway, which he also not just researched the team, but researched the entire institution they represent. So they are from Midway, Kentucky. They're a private Christian university, in case this information would affect your viewing experience of the match. And 1,122 undergraduate students. So that's about a fifth or so the size of Ithaca, maybe a little bit less, maybe closer to a sixth. So a smaller pool of players to pick from. So we'll see maybe if that sort of affects the talent on the two different teams here. But I think a more useful measure of talent would just be looking at the ranks of the players. So he also researched the players. So he has a little rank differential lined up here. And unfortunately, he didn't do this for the team he's playing, he and his team are playing. So maybe I'll get into the habit of researching both squads so we can have some fair coverage for both teams here. But our players on Midway are we have two platinums and we have a diamond. So if you're familiar with Rocket League, you'll know that those are middling ranks when it comes to competition. And our blue squad, just purely based on rank, which doesn't always mean everything, is looking to be the favorite in this match going forward here because we have, of course, Peter Wiggin, who is the captain of the team, otherwise known as Elliot, who sometimes co-casted with me last semester for the Gold Squads games. And he is a Champion 2 Division 3, so he's a higher ranked player here. And our other two players, Wisley and Tommy Cronin, otherwise known as Tommy, are both Champion 1s. And even Austin himself is a sub for the blue team as well, and he's sitting around Diamond 3. So again, if you're not familiar with what those terms mean, if you're new to watching Rocket League, do not worry. You just have to know that based on that ranking, it's looking like Ithaca will be the favorite coming into this match. But who knows? Rank doesn't determine everything. So we might have an upset. If anyone has been following competitive Rocket League lately, you'll know that earlier today in the North American Regional, there were quite a few upsets. I had a fun time watching that. It's getting really hard to get prediction brackets correct in that region. Normally, Europe is the one that holds all the surprises, but North America really is throwing some curveballs at us. So if you're interested in Rocket League and you like what we're doing and what I'm doing, then you should check out the professional leagues too and compare the broadcast coverage and the play and give notes to me and the players on how we can both do better. Again, I apologize sometimes for some lack or some gaps in coverage, rather. Being a bit of a one-man show, it can be hard to be talking and moving and producing and switching things at the same time. But we're getting closer to 7 p.m. here, and if you know how things normally run around these parts, you'll know that matches do not always start right on time. Actually, rarely they do. Usually there's a bit of a intermittent waiting period, but I think it would be fitting to transition into our starting graphic in just a few moments. We do know that Ithaca will be in the blue for this match, and Midway is going to be in the orange. This is what I'm talking about with the Eagle logo. Post, who's going to be playing against the Gold later, are actually called the Eagles, but Midway seems to have Eagle theme going on. Maybe with an astronaut helmet. I think that might be a gaming headset. Who's to say? But my job is not to speculate too much on logos. It's to bring you match coverage, and we will do that whenever we get information about the lobby, and I'm sure players are setting up right now, getting into it. In the meantime, maybe I can share a little bit more information that Austin has compiled because, of course, he did a deep dive on our own players as well. All right, I have the PDF again. He sent me a PDF. I'm very impressed. So just a little information about our own players on this squad, getting to know them. Peter is a mathematics major. He's in the class of 2026, so unless I am incorrect, I believe we'll be losing him this semester. But we have some new talent coming into the team, so I'm sure we will be all right. But he will be missed. Wisley is a computer science major, class of 2026. And if I'm not mistaken, we will also be losing him. But it's okay. Like I said, we have new talent coming in. Fear not. And Wisley's note here that Austin left is he says chess is fun. So I think Wisley might have some chess background. Maybe he'll bring some of that strategy into the match here. And lastly, the third player on the roster is Tommy. He's a psychology major, also class of 2026. So, my apologies. I was my mistake. I kept saying class of 2026 for the seniors. My apologies. I meant to say that we have a lot of new talent coming in because they are graduating in 2026, so we're going to keep them for a while. I meant to say that we're going to lose Austin himself, Union Thunder. He will be graduating this semester, class of 2023. My apologies for that mistake, but we have a pretty young roster, and they're very talented, and I'm interested to see, because this roster will stick together, how they will grow over time. We have gotten some match information, getting into our game soon. So we will load that up in just a moment. All right, loading into the lobby here. Okay, so as we're getting the lobby ready and everything set up, I think it's important to mention one more time, I've received word from Austin that my suspicions were correct. I trusted the PDF, but I had an inkling of doubt. I thought that Peter Wiggin, sort of the captain of the team, would be graduating this semester, and Austin has corrected himself. He actually will be graduating, so we will be losing Peter. He is class of 2023, not 2026. Important correction, but we still have 2 young players on this team, so that's very exciting. And I think we will be getting into this match here in game 1. Again, let me know how my audio is sounding. But right off the kickoff, is that just a goal to start the match? The entire series? In the first second? Is that how this is going to start? Just right into the net. See the moist goal explosion there. I cannot think of a worse way to start off. Quite unfortunate. That's almost not believable. I think Tommy just kind of missed the ball on the kickoff. Maybe he's still waking up. Maybe he's taking a nap. But this game has started, and why not just tie it up? 2 exceedingly fast goals here, and it's going to be tied at 1. Univar doesn't get a great touch there. Accidentally side flips, and the name's a little bit hard to read. It's so long, but the other Midway defender just can't get there in time, and suddenly another strange kickoff there. I'm so perplexed by the kickoff so far in this game. The reason I say it was strange is that Key Dragonfire, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, weighted up a little bit on the kickoff, which is not typical. When you see that kickoff where both players are sort of diagonally to each other, it's typical that one player will go for the ball and one player will either move up behind them or go for boost behind themselves, and Key Dragonfire kind of did neither of those, which is why I say it was a bit strange, but who knows, maybe they're workshopping a strategy that I'm not aware of. This one here into the corner. Halliburton, great name, trying to do something with this ball, doesn't make contact, leaves it open for Peter Wiggin. The backboard is wide open, and that's not something you can do against a player like Peter Wiggin. Unfortunately for Ithaca, they can't convert, and this one's down the other end. Tommy, I think, actually getting a little caught up on the inside of the goalpost. Luckily, that one is seen away. Back into the center. This time he won't have as much trouble, or maybe he will. Ithaca players getting a little tangled up on each other. Possibly a fake, and Wisley there. I'm not sure if that was a fake, but went up and it was nowhere near the ball. What a bizarre start to this game and start to this series. Not a lot of typical plays or typical levels of making contact with the ball, but regardless, we're still tied at 1. Off the wall here, Tommy trying to take the lead for Ithaca, and he will with a beautiful pass down to Peter Wiggin, who's going to put it away. I think for Midway, you just can't give Tommy that much time there. He saw Human of War off the backboard trying to drive up, but he's just a bit too late, and that's all too easy for Peter to finish it off. It's now a 1-goal game here with 3:13 on the clock. I am starting to think that kickoff strategy is intentional because I saw Human of War go for it. Whiffs the ball there, down into the center. Again, giving Peter so much time, but an accidental backflip is going to break up that attack. Again, at the moment, it's looking like this series is going to be defined by mistakes. Who can make the least of them? And who can capitalize on their opponent's mistakes? Tommy here in the corner tries to play it out, but two Midway players are there. Human of War leaves it. High Dragon. Great touch off to the side there, and I know that Elliot was talking about this last semester when he was casting how important those defensive touches are. And I think anyone who is a player of the game and maybe aspiring to reach Champion 2 or higher should listen to this advice, that it's important on defense to touch the ball off into the corners, especially if a teammate is there. It's all too easy to get excited and just boom it right back down the middle, but that's going to leave you vulnerable to a follow-up. So good awareness there from Holy Caliburn. Peter Wiggin with the double tap, and oh my goodness, you're talking about Champion 2 level mechanics, and that is the way to do it. But you see he has the Grand Champion banner there, so clearly he's been around the block. And beautiful double tap to put Ithaca up by 2. Right now, it's just looking a little bit too sloppy here from Midway. They've had their chances, but just getting flustered on defense, and I think Ithaca is taking advantage of that. Why not a third for Peter Wiggin here? Again, Tommy connecting with Peter in the center. It's a great pass from the side, just beats Kai Dragonfire, and man, I feel like Midway's just getting to the ball a little bit too slowly here to deal with the Ithaca offense. Typical kickoff for once, even if the ball was shot to the side. Off the ball, Tommy trying to make magic again. We've seen how dangerous he can be in the corner, centering it to a teammate, most often Peter. Holy Caliburn, a bit of a strong touch there. And nice team play on the wall. Peter found Wisley, and right now the blue squad is really linking up here on offense. They're finding each other in space. But I think it's important to note that a lot of that space is being left open by Midway. They're not really closing down area as much as they should. I think it's giving Ithaca just too much time with the ball, especially Peter, the highest ranked, and I think it's fair to say the most mechanical player on the team. If you let him do what he wants to do with the ball, it's probably not going to turn out well for you, and I think Midway is learning that the hard way. A little bit of double commit there, 3 players going for it. Team bump. Tommy Cronin is there to take it away. Peter trying to loft it over. Human of War is there. Not the strongest touch. Again, these defensive errors, they're not glaring mistakes, at least not most of the time, but they're just inopportune and unoptimal, suboptimal, I should say, plays and some lapses in decision-making, some touches that you can tell just don't go where they want them to. Holy Caliburn maybe with a chance, denied by Peter, flying across the mouth of the goal. Gonna keep Midway to that 1-second kickoff goal at the very beginning and nothing more. And to be honest, apart from that, it looks like Midway has been completely defenseless, or I should say offenseless, toothless in this game here, and Ithaca is going to close it down with the 5th. At 0 seconds, the buzzer beater is going to be the dagger in this game. And moving forward in the series, Ithaca is looking good. Well played there to Ithaca. Didn't give Midway a lot of chances to come back. It's the sign of a team with a strong mental to go down 1 goal in the first literal 1 second and still find a way to bounce back. Just to show you how well Ithaca is playing, and I was Despite possibly messing up the graduation years, this roster has 2 freshmen on it, given that that is correct information. And they're going to be sticking together here for the foreseeable future. So it's exciting to see what this team will be capable of. So going into game 2 here. Tommy with a little bit of a whiff there. Peter into the center. Has the boost, but doesn't feel the need to get more touches. Stuck up on the post a little bit, which is uncommon. You'd expect a player of his caliber to have some smoother transitions around the field. And high Dragonfire, maybe with a little bit of a wall wave dash. That's not something you normally see at this level. Maybe it was unintentional. Peter there. Perhaps a fake, maybe a whiff. It opened up an option for the player below, but denied by Midway. And that one for Blizzly. Blink and you miss it. I feel like that shot came out of nowhere. And it's because someone from Midway should have made contact there. It was a side flip. More panicking in front of net, I think, is going to be the downfall for the orange team here. They need to get something together. They need to link up on defense, because right now it just looks like 3 orange cars and not a team. No cohesion on the defensive end. Well, right as I say that, a little bit of a team pinch, but easily sent away by Blizzly. A little bit more power, that could have been trouble, but right now Ithaca is unfazed. A musty attempt there from Peter Wiggin. I'm not familiar with what I mean by that, if you're new to watching Rocket League or even playing. A musty, it doesn't sound very appealing, but it's actually named after a prominent player in the community. It's a move where it looks like you start to go for some sort of backflip. You point the nose of your car down, and then you'll actually flip in the opposite direction. And put quite a bit of power on the ball, but most often it's used to be stylish since it looks so nice. And it's indicative of some confidence on the side of the blue team if Peter is going for a shot like that. Tommy again trying to be dangerous in the corner, but he's shut down. And what I like here from Ithaca is that they're attacking. They're confident, trying to convert their lead into more goals, but they're not over-desperate. And I think that's important to recognize, because when you have the lead, a lot of teams will think, well, why stop here? And that's not a bad mentality in itself, but if you overextend, if you start to get a little overzealous on offense, then you might leave yourself open to a counterattack. So sometimes it's important just to sit back. And we saw this about a year ago, maybe a year or a half ago, in the professional leagues in the RLCS. A team very notable for doing this was called Team Envy, but this play here, a bit of a strange one. It's going to shut me up with the history lesson. Again, Tommy's just given so much time to get that flick off, and unfortunately, if you've played the game, we've all been there. Holy Caliburn with the own goal, just wrong place at the wrong time, and that one's got to hurt to put Ithaca up by 2. Strange kickoff, though. I thought the kickoff shenanigans were over for the series, but luckily for Ithaca, it's not too dangerous. High Dragonfire probably wishes he had some more boost to work with there, but to give Peter time. Flubs the air dribble attempt just a little bit, but still gets a 50 out. Blizzly here with an attacking opportunity, sent away. High Dragonfire, and it's looking like it's coming down to, I mentioned the rank difference at the beginning before we started the match, and how it would be an uphill battle for Midway. I think that's starting to come out here in the gameplay, because, well, apart maybe from that double commit, what on earth? How did this work? You can't see me, but I'm scratching my head right now. Blizzly with a slow flick attempt, and it was a team pinch? There wasn't even that much power on it. I feel like that would have been easy for Midway to save away. But no, that one somehow find its way into the net. And more kickoff shenanigans? I can't even pause to take a breath. Nobody from Ithaca went for the ball there. I have no idea what's happening. This is one of the stranger games that I've casted in the semester, and now 2 games I've been doing it. Blizzly there with the pop-up. Tommy tries to make something happen. Goes for the corner boost, and Peter very smart there to stay back. I've said this once, and I'll say it again. Oh, double commit, actually. I was going to talk about the mind for the game that Peter has, but he had double commit right at that time. But as I was saying, a lot of people will think skill in this game inherently just means having good mechanics, being able to do all the fancy moves, the musty flicks that Peter went for earlier. But a lot of the time it's important just to know what to do when and be confident in that decision. And I've neglected to mention it because that was a bit of an awkward goal. Far from the first so far this series, there's a long shot that just lofted into the net. And maybe that was a smart play from Peter, as I've been saying. He does have quite the Rocket League mind, but I think it was more a mistake from Midway. And that's kind of the theme so far of the almost 2 games that have completed now. It's just Midway mistakes and Ithaca being there to capitalize. Apart from some nice team play, we saw Tommy connecting with Peter on an occasion, or rather quite frequently. But I think apart from that, a lot of this has just been finding a way in when Midway messes up. Just about 20 seconds left. This is what I've started calling after I heard a professional commentator say it, garbage time. There's just no way back into the game for the losing team. You just take a few seconds to recompose yourself, think about what you're going to do going into the next one. And that's exactly what Midway is going to have to do. Once this one hits the ground, Ithaca is going to be threatening a dominant sweep. And it feels like Midway have not scored at all in this series, but I think it is correct. They did get one in the first game, that kickoff goal in the first 1 second, and it's starting to look like a fluke. I don't think Ithaca's going to let that happen again. They're going to continue to shut out Midway, and unless something can change really fast, this could be an easy 3-0, the second one so far this season for the Blue Squad. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but it's looking threatening. Getting ready for game 3 here. And off we go. Ithaca up 2, Midway 0. Mavor again. I think kickoffs have been a recurrent theme here. Waiting on the side. Peter there, smart to turn back, lets Holy Caliburn get the touch that he was really gunning for, but maybe he's not proud of in hindsight. Again, more smart play there from Peter. Sometimes you want a challenge and you're positioned for it, but you know it's better to not touch it at all, let it go behind you, leave it for a teammate because the attacking player might not get the most opportune touch. Wesley here, utilizing that space, which is nice to see. He's aware that the side wall is open and he utilizes it. Tommy there, I think, with a whiff off the backboard. Peter playing defensive. He's aware that Ithaca's up 2-0. No need to get too hasty. And Tommy there tried to put that one away off the post. Near shot. It was a great look. Unfortunately, can't convert. And Peter there popping it up in the center to himself. Nobody up from Midway. Maybe a double tap off the side wall. That one would have been a highlight play, but unfortunately doesn't get the contact he was looking for, and now it's down the other end. Here, sending this one away. Apologize for the brief pause there. Remembered that I asked for audio tips in the chat, so I was just checking that real quick. I'll make sure to tweak the game audio after this match. And if this does end up being the last game in the series, which with this goal it might be from Wisley, take a moment to continue that thought in a second here, and this is a 3-man play. Peter clangs it off the post there, which might not have been what he intended to do, but it certainly took 2 defenders out and left it wide open for Wisley. But as I was saying, if this does end up being the last game of the series, I'll make sure that those audio settings are tweaked going into the gold match, which will be happening at 8. So after this, don't go anywhere if you're enjoying what you see. If Midway do take this, I'll make sure to fix those settings up going into Game 4. Peter here up the side again. It's almost like he could hear me talking about that musty flick. He goes for it again. You heard me talking about it last time, and you're confused what I was saying. That's what it looks like, so maybe watch out for it happening again from Peter. Tommy here with a chance. Double commit with Wisley. Maybe it was intentional. I'm not sure whether this was ugly or a thing of beauty. Either way, it goes into the net to make it 2. Seemed like a miscommunication, but it's going to pay off. I'm not sure if Wisley got a second touch there off the crossbar. It's certainly not going to be the one that you want to put up on the fridge. But it's a goal regardless. Tommy there, hunting for that demo. I noticed this. Oh no! Oh no. Things were getting a little sloppy in front of the net there from Ithaca. Unfortunate that Kai Dragon couldn't put that one away. It was wide open. Maybe he's going to be kicking himself for that. That one should have been the one to split the lead in half, but he sends it wide. Peter trying to take this one. Tommy there. It's the whiff. As I was talking about him, Tommy, I noticed last semester he's quite fond of the physical play of the demos. Going for his opponents rather than going for the ball. That one needs 2 Midway players to send it away. Got threatening a third. That one just a hair wide from Peter. Wisley good 50, but you love to see the creativity from Tommy. Using the car to take out the defense, or at least make their lives difficult. And again, I'm going to make the connection to professional play here. If you've watched it, especially watched it evolve over the years as I have, you've noticed that that physical play is becoming ever so important, more prominent, because it's just so useful in disrupting the other team. Especially when you've been playing for a while, you know your teammates, you know the game you want to play, you have a flow, and suddenly one of you has been blown up. It just throws everything into chaos. It can be very useful to have a player like Tommy that knows the right time to go for those disruptive plays. Just under a minute left here in Game 3. Midway is going to need a miracle to prevent the sweep. I want to say shutout. I wish the records reflected shutout for how well Ithaca has been playing, but that goal in the first game in the first second, it's going to be preventing them from the shutout title. But either way, they've played very well, and I never say impossible until the clock hits 0, but 15 seconds left. It's not looking like it's going to happen for Midway. Oh, I stand corrected. Here's a desperate one from Kai Dragonfire. You get the impression that they just threw everything in the kitchen sink at this play, trying to put it away, and they do. Gonna make it a 1-goal game here. 12 seconds. It's more than possible, but it's unlikely, seeing the way that these two teams have fared so far in the matchup. Tommy here trying to waste as much time as possible, but Midway player gets a strong clear. This could spell disaster for Ithaca if Human of War can do something with the ball. A 50 into the center, it's still up in the air, and Peter there is going to send it down the other end, put that ball into the ground, and put this series away. 3-0 for Ithaca. Absolutely dominant performance, and I am actually glad on the part of Midway that they were able to run away with a goal there at the end to get 2 on the record for the series. It wasn't just the one-off fluke in Game 1. Again, I can't believe literally 1 second on the clock they put it away, but taking a second there, taking it to go, but the series ultimately is going to be a sweep for the Blue Squad, and they played very well. But it was a quick one. They didn't need an overtime, and they didn't look too nervous. Midway didn't have a lot of options, didn't have a lot of looks that seemed all too scary to our blue players. So well done to them, and we'll be looking to the Gold Squad playing here at 8. Let me pair my graphics here. Transition into, oh, well, not starting soon. My apologies. You know, I thought I was going to cover the entire game without any hiccups. I think a be right back would be more akin to the situation, considering we will be having another match here. Again, it's going to be gold going up against Post Eagles Purple. Like I said, two Eagle-related teams, if you saw the Midway logo. But we will be right back in about half an hour with that coverage, and I'll make sure to fiddle with my audio settings to preference. Again, I appreciate anyone in the chat letting me know these things, because it's not always easy to listen to myself while I'm streaming. But yeah, we will be covering the gold match here, watching Austin play and his team in just about half an hour, so don't go anywhere. I appreciate you guys joining me for this one, and I hope to see you at 8. We will be taking a brief intermission, meaning the stream's going to go down. It's going to come back up, but that just gives me some time to prepare and, of course, make sure I'm delivering the highest quality that I can. But yeah, you can see on the graphic there, 2-0 for the blue squad. They're playing next Friday at 7. I'm pretty sure it might not be every single week, but I'm pretty sure every week our blue team is going to be playing at 7 and our gold is going to be playing at 8. So mark that on your calendars if you like tuning in. But yeah, 2-0 for blue. It's a great result. And in their series, they've won 3-0 both times. So they haven't actually dropped a game so far this season, which is very exciting. If you didn't know, Austin told me this information, which I think is important to note, especially because we were talking about those rank differences before the match started, that the blue team actually used to be in a higher division in the NECC, which is the organization that makes these leagues, these esports collegiate leagues happen. They were in a higher division and they didn't perform all too well last season, so they were actually moved back down. So as it was, both of our Ithaca Rocket League teams are actually in the same division, despite blue being higher ranked than our gold team. So I said this last week when we were watching them sweep a different team. Maybe blue wants to find themselves back up into the division they were in formerly. Maybe they don't feel at home here, and if they go far enough, maybe they'll bump themselves back up, because they've been doing well down here. Again, 2-0, haven't dropped a game, which is very impressive. But yeah, make sure to catch the stream in about half an hour when we pick back up with gold going up against Post Eagles Purple. Thank you once again for joining me and for all the support and excitement, and I hope to see you then. I'm going to play some outro music, and in about 30 minutes, we will see each other again.